Good morning, students. Today we will study English subject. Unit 6. In Unit 6, we have one poem and one story. Okay. So today we will be studying poem. Okay. The name of the chapter is Mr. Nobody. So now let's recite the poem. I know a funny little man, as quiet as a mouse, who does the mischief that is done. In everybody's house, there is no one ever see his face. And yet we all agree that every plate we break was cracked by Mr. Nobody. So Mr. Nobody is a funny little man who do mischief in everybody's house. Okay, and funny means one who makes us laugh or full of fun. Okay, Mr. Nobody is a funny little man. Okay, as quiet. Quiet means very silently, or we can say who never talk. Okay, as a mouse, as quiet as like mouse, who does the mischief that is done. Okay, so Mr. Nobody is doing naughty things. All right, so there is no one ever see his face. So here you can see the picture of Mr. Nobody, but we can't see the face, right? Mr. Nobody's face we cannot see. All right, and yet we all agree. Agree means to have the same opinion as somebody or something. Okay, everybody means every person or all people. Okay, that every plate we break was cracked. So crack means broken. So that every plate was broken by Mr. Nobody. Mr. Nobody means not anyone or no person. Okay, so Mr. Nobody is a funny little man who did mischief in everybody's house. Okay, so this is the poem of Mr. Nobody. So now let's see new words. Quiet means very silently. Mischief. Mischief means doing naughty things. Everybody means every person or all people. Agree means to have the same opinion as somebody. Nobody means here we can see nobody means no person or sorry. Nobody means not anyone, or we can say no person. This is the poem of Mr. Nobody. Okay. So now let's see question answer. Number 1, who is Mr. Nobody? Mr. Nobody is a funny little man who do mischief in everybody's house. Okay. Has anyone ever seen him? No. Nobody has ever seen Mr. Nobody's face. Is there a Mr. Nobody in your house? No. Nobody is there in our house. Okay. So now let's see next. Sometimes you want to look and find things for yourself. Take those that you did. Tell your friends. Okay. Number 1, I try to see why the clock tick. We can hear the sound of clock tick 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 tick, right? But if you have seen, you can tick. If you are not, then put it cross. Number 2, I went out of the house at night to see the stars. Obviously we did. We came outside and we see the star, and even we count the star, right? So if you have done, tick. Okay. I climb a tree to look into a nest. Next is I climb on a stool to find biscuit. So here you can see the picture. So which one you have done or which one you did in your life, you can tick. Okay. Out of these 4, which one you see, you can just tick it out. Okay. So students, now let's see. Say aloud and circle the rhyming words. Here we can see the 4 till 4 number. So now let's find out and circle the rhyming words. Okay. Number 1. A mouse ran into the house. Here we can see the rhyming words mouse and house. So just circle it. Okay. Number 2. I can see the little bee. C and B are rhyming words. Number 3. That was a fat cat. Here we can see the rhyming words, 3 words. That, fat and cat. Give me a handkerchief. Don't do any mischief. Handkerchief and mischief are rhyming. Okay. So this is the rhyming words. You have to circle it. Okay. So now let's see, fill in the blanks with vowels. A, E, I, O, U. So here we can see H-E dash hat. Sorry, D. So we have to write it down, had, H-E-A-D. Okay, we can see the blank, right? And next is dash R-M-S. So you have to add A-R-M-S. And next is leg, L-E-Z-S. And next is dress, D-R-E-S-S. And lastly, H-A-I-R. So in this way you have to fill in the blanks. You have to use vowels. Okay, A-E-I-O-U. And next we can see number 2, add no, some and every to the word body to make new words. Okay, here you can see no, some and every. So here you can see in number 2, blank after that body, blank after that body, blank after that body. So you have to add nobody, somebody, everybody. Okay. Number 3, Seema wrote her father's name like this, Mr. Dinesh Dixie. So you have to add, when you write, you have to write it. You have to start with Mr. M.R. Dinesh, D-I-N-E-S-H, Dixie, D-I-X-I-T. So in this way you have to write it down below. Okay. Ram wrote his mother's name like this, Mrs. M.R.S., Mrs. Sneha Ramdas. So in this way you have to write it down below. Write your father's name as Seema did. So write your father's name and write your mother's name as Ram did. So in your father's name you have to write it down M.R. and in your mother's name you have to start with M.R.S. So you can start with your father and mother's name. Okay. So lastly we can see, use Mr. and Mrs. to write more names you know. So in first you have to write it down your father and your mother's name. But lastly you can add 2 more people names. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Okay, so this one you can try it in your home. Okay, so this is the point of Mr. Nobody. Okay, thank you.